predict you can pass 2 mm CFT gas from this small unit, but it is a complete with all detail we have to know about the MM unit. You have an absorber, rich MM flash drum, coolers, Amine exchanger, HP pump, regenerator, and refluxer regenerator, and the surge tank. This is a condenser of regenerator. In the absorber, we introduce solar gas contain acid component into the system. As you know, we wash that with the Amine solution that can absorb and react with the acid component like the H2S and CO2. The rich amine that absorb all of these acid gases pass through this throttling valve. The first throttling valve that brings down the pressure from normal operation that will be greater than 7 bar gauge. Break down and enter to the rich amine flash drum that we control the pressure above 7 bar gauge. In this vessel, we can release the hydrocarbon that is dissolved in the amine at the higher pressure in the absorber. With the lower temperature, higher pressure, a lot of hydrocarbon dissolved in the amine. Therefore, the gas that released from the rich amine flash drum, as we explained to you, that coming out from the steel column, is sent to the user as a feed-up bowl. In this pilot, we work with the nitrogen, the excess nitrogen getting out and sent into the outside of the building. And after that, treat amine that lose its hydrocarbon dissolved in it enters to the amine exchanger. As you see, we have a lot of gasket here. You can touch it. This is the gasket. And we have a lot of plates. The plates all attached together. In between we have gasket and glues. You can see the effect of glues here. And also with the start mode, the tightening the torque meter we have to use here to completely check the pressure that enters from each side of this exchanger. If you tighten up this bolt, another bolt gets loose and leakage release. Therefore, it is very important to do hot bolt for this one. If you start up the amine unit in the real refinery, and you see when you start the cold circulation, you see leakage over there, it's better to do not tightening in cold condition. Okay? Stay to increase up the temperature up to 100 degrees centigrade. If the leakage is rectified by expanding by the temperature, okay, everything is okay. If not, you have to put out of service this exchanger to rectify the problem. Before that, you sign up which part of the exchanger has leakage to be able to easily find the root of problem in the workshop. As I explained to you before, we have several of this exchanger in parallel in service. That means you allowed to put out of service one of them and keep in service the rest of them. In the startup, you have to put in service all available exchanger, 3, 4, 5. Every exchanger you have put in service. After heat up to 100, there is no leakage appear over there around them. Then keep in service 2, 3 of them. Put out of service the standbys. Easily cool down it and put out of service. The heat up the amine enters to the regenerator at the top section of the regenerator, as we know, and we have another throttling valve over there to shore about the corrosion. But it is not possible to install this valve over there. Therefore, you assume this valve is attached to the top of this tower. In the real condition, the distance should be not longer than 2 meters. Should be attached to the tower. Just maintenance available around it. After this valve, we know a lot of components vaporized at the temperature above 95, 98 degrees centigrade at the pressure. After this throttling valve, some of water vaporized, a lot of acid gas vaporized by reducing the pressure, and also the temperature is high enough to strip H2S from the system. Then enter into the this distillation column we use as a regenerator. The regenerator reboiler is very important. We have here an electrical reboiler over there that has a coil inside of the sump of tower. Boil up light component when the amine comes down. The steam produced by this electro heater vaporized and strip the amine that coming down by gravity. Therefore, the coming out from the system is completely lean and you can reuse it from the other side. Reuse it as a heating media for this amine exchange. And after that, the temperature reduces enough, we can pass it through that exchanger and send it again, resend it again to the absorber. If you want to make up amine, or maybe you want to collect all of your amine to the surge tank for some maintenance job, you can do this one by this manual valve and this line to the surge tank. The capacity of surge tank should be equal or more than the capacity required to collect all of the amine from your system. You have to add an underground vessel as an amine sump drum to this volume. You have to consider, we have to collect all the amine from the system, the vessels, the fill up capacity, plus pipelines, filters, and also emitters. You have any question?
There's no valve in it.
Yeah, this is a file. But you have to install an inlet valve. You see, there is no enough space to install this temperature transmitter in good way. This is temperature thermo well that completely attached to the line. If you remove this temperature transmitter, you see just a hole and no fluid can liquid. Just it is a thermo well. Input it inside of the line. Material pass around this thermo well. It's completely plugged, and you can easily remove temperature transmitter here. But for pressure transmitter, it's completely different. If you remove it, leakage happen in the system. Therefore, there is no chance here for isolate because this exchanger always has a strainer, like the pump in the real condition. You can easily clean up the strainer to prevent any large particle enter into this fine exchanger. You see, the plate in between is so nearby each other, like less than 1-2 millimeter distance between them. Therefore, it is mandatory requested to install a filtration before that. Filtration before which we call a strainer like the pump. We have to clean up that. It has two strainer in parallel, and you can put one of them in service, another one clean as a standby one. And also, depending on the air temperature, we can install several air coolers. If you are working as Iran, Iraq in the high environment, it's better to install 2-3 more additional exchanger because the nature of this exchanger gives us an experience that we predict a lot of leakage happen in the system. Therefore, we have to predict in operation some of this exchanger start to leaking. We have to grind it, put it out of service, repair it, and again put it back in service. Therefore, we have to consider additional exchanger install in the design condition. But in some refinery, after the air cooler, maybe the temperature of amine not reduced enough to be able to catch 45 degrees centigrade. In Iraq, in Iran, in the summer, the ambient temperature is about 55 degrees centigrade in the oil field areas. Therefore, you are not able to reduce the amine temperature less than 50 degrees centigrade by nature. Therefore, you have to install a trim cooler in the downstream that allow you to cool down the amine solution down to 45 degrees centigrade. In worst case, you would be able to reduce temperature down to 40 degrees centigrade we are able to adjust the amine temperature in the absorber. Amine temperature is very important for us because keeping 10 up to 15 degrees centigrade upper than inlet gas is very necessary for us. If temperature increase, foaming increase. If temperature decrease, also foaming increase because of hydrocarbon layer formation on the trays in the absorber. Therefore, temperature of amine, H2S loading, and concentration is very important for us to adjust. These are operating parameter that we are as operation man can control it and check it and adjust it.
And the temperature increase also.
Decrease, yes, condensation of some heavy hydrocarbon in the gas happen and a thin layer of hydrocarbon appear on the tray. When you have two liquids together and gas blowing between this one, make a lot of foam for you. For the regenerator, the temperature of the rich amine into the regenerator is very important. Flow rate is important for this. The reboiler temperature to prevent degradation is important. If you heat up your regenerator suddenly, degradation happens. Plus this problem, we have another problem. A huge load of steam enter to the tower. Therefore, foaming happen again because the velocity of steam inside of the trays increase up to jet flow. And jet flow made for you foaming, flooding, and lost carryover of amine to the SRU downstream, or maybe you lost it if you send it to the flow.